what's the new thing one can say about Indira Gandhi? What's the unexplored dimension of her personality and her achievements? And I felt her life as a nature lover, her life not as a unidimensional environmentalist, but as somebody who cared for the natural heritage,
Right.
As well as, of course, the cultural heritage. This is something that we needed to bring out. Project Tiger. I mean, the headline is Project Tiger, but by protecting the tiger, you're protecting forests. By protecting forests, you're protecting the water sources, most of which emanate in forest areas. So Project Tiger is only the headline grabber, but actually Project Tiger means the protection of whole ecosystems across the country. I think you have to thank her for that. The Forest Conservation Act of 1980 was entirely, and I have discussed this in a whole chapter, the Forest Conservation Act was entirely her doing. The system was not. The Wildlife Protection Act also, the fact that she actually put her mind to it. So the protection of wildlife, the protection of forests, I think certainly. I think she could have been a little tougher on pollution issues. I think, she dilly-dallied, she said we can have this project, but we can always, for example, this oil refinery, we can have this oil refinery near the Taj Mahal and Bharatpur, but we can always bring in technology from outside to deal with pollution. So on pollution issues, I think she was not as firm and fundamentalist as on wildlife and forest issues. And I think frankly, the protection of India's natural heritage today, whatever little we have, is because of her and because of the laws that she put in place, which unfortunately, systematically is being sought to be dismantled in the last few years. Example, in 1972, exactly 45 years earlier, on the 14th of July, she went to Stockholm for the first UN conference on the environment. She was the only prime minister present. The only other prime minister was Olof Palme, who had to be present because he was the host prime minister. Now, 20 years later at Rio, when the famous Earth Summit took place in Rio, there were over 100 prime ministers and presidents present. So today, environment, every prime minister and president talks of the environment, talks of nature, talks of climate change. But in the 70s, with the economic crisis, particularly in India, in the 70s and in the early 80s, to talk like the way Indira Gandhi did and to act in the manner she did for the environment required a lot of political courage. When I was sanitation minister, I announced Nirmal Bharat Abhiyaan. Mr. Modi became Prime Minister and he converted Nirmal Bharat Abhiyaan to Swachh Bharat Abhiyaan. So I congratulate him for repackaging, I congratulate him for better branding, I congratulate him for becoming a political champion, But when I started this in 2012, I came under great criticism, and when I made the statement that India requires more toilets than temples, Mr. Modi's own political colleagues came outside my house and had a black flag demonstration. But when Mr. Modi said, "Pehle shauchalay, baad mein dewalay," everybody, applauded Mr. Modi as this great champion of sanitation, and Mr. Modi was completely silent on that. And, I used to get a lot of hate mail, for the many. Another slogan that I gave when I was Minister of Sanitation was, "Shauchalay nahi to dulhan nahi." That I would go when I traveled, I would go to women's self-help groups and I would exhort the women. And in fact, one woman, Anita Nare, from Betul district of Madhya Pradesh, she went to her sasural, there was no toilet, and she came back. And in Abhiyaan Bhavan, I got the then President of India, Pratibha Patil, to give her a special award, to recognize her. And the slogan was, "Dulhan shauchalay nahi to dulhan nahi." And I was criticized by the VHP, the RSS, the BJP, the Bajrang Dal, and so on and so forth. But exactly, Mr. Modi is doing exactly the same thing. So, what can I say?